is muted. You can unmute yourself by pressing *6 on your phone.
David, thank you very much
Absolutely.
for joining us this morning at the Talk Shoe podcast booth. And thanks for Talk Shoe for sponsoring this show and all the shows that will be happening here today at Podcast Movement 2018 in beautiful downtown Philadelphia. My name is Karim Kanji, host of the Welcome Podcast. Check it out on karimkanji.com and everywhere else you can find podcasts. And a special thanks to Hi Sound for providing these awesome microphones and these headphones I'm wearing to help us record this podcast. All right, David, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Piecing It Together is your show?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
So Piecing It Together is a movie podcast, but instead of just being a movie review podcast,
Yeah.
there's so many of, what we do is we take a look at a new movie and we try to figure out what other movies inspired. And so sometimes we might even end up talking about the other movies more than what we're covering, because we just end up on a long journey of just discovering other movies that we think kind of played a part in the creation of the movie.
Interesting. So can we talk about a movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so one of my favorites is The Matrix.
Okay.
I don't know if I know it's an older movie.
Yes. Very influential.
Yeah, so let's talk about a couple of things.
Okay.
Let's talk about a couple of movies that influenced The Matrix, and maybe you talked about it being an influential movie.
Yeah.
What movies it has influenced.
Well, right off the bat, I can tell you about 6 episodes ago we did Ready Player One.
Yes.
And I would say The Matrix absolutely influenced Ready Player One. And then a movie that influenced both The Matrix and Ready Player One was Tron.
The old Tron.
Yeah, the original Tron.
Yeah.
I think The Matrix would not exist if it wasn't for Tron. I think that planted the seed 100% for the idea of The Matrix. And then as well as just the overall look and feel and idea behind it.
One of the most fantastic things that came out of The Matrix was their use of these multi-cameras.
Sure.
To take you from a fight scene and to like literally take you around the whole scene.
Yeah, and that became a thing, not just in action movies, but even in like comedy movies where they're like parodying that idea. Like it really became a big thing in like lots of pop culture.
Yeah, so I just love that movie. It's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, first Matrix is great. Sequels, not so much, but the first one was really amazing.
Yeah, although the fight scenes in each of them sort of improved and became better. But you're right, the whole story. Sort of got a little bit weird, but fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you this, David. When did you start your podcast, and why did you want to start having these conversations?
Sure. Well, to answer that, I should also mention I have a second podcast as well called Bird Road, which is more about politics, news. We also add in some comedy and stuff. A lot of the time, I do that with my friend Q, who owns the All Points West Network, which is what both of our podcasts are on. And he's here with me, by the way. But on that show, I was always trying to steer the conversation to movies. And it's great. We have fun talking about movies sometimes, mixing in with all the politics and everything awful going on in the world. But, I was like, maybe I should start my own podcast. Just that way I don't have to always try to, shove movies into our serious conversations, So there you go. I started a movie podcast.
Nice. How long have you been podcasting for?
So we started Bird Road back in November of last year, and I started piecing it together in March.
Nice. Fantastic. And where can people find your podcast?
They're on, Piecing It Together's website is piecingpod.com, and we're also at piecingpod on Twitter and all that. And it's available on Apple Podcasts and all the major podcast apps. And Bird Road is birdroadpodcast.com, and also that on Twitter.
Awesome, David. Thanks so much. I got a couple of guests waiting to come online as well. Enjoy the rest of the week here in Philadelphia at Podcast Movement.
Absolutely.
And all the best with your podcast. Sounds really cool.
Right on.
All right. Take care, buddy. All right. Nice to meet you. That was David Rosen from the podcast Piecing It Together. If you want more than just movie reviews, go check it out. The podcast is hosted on the All Points West Network. It's a podcast about new movies and the old movies that inspired them. We've got a few more guests coming up. We've got Robert Forto, Alex, Ellen, and CL. They're just joining us here in studio now. But again, thank you very much to TalkShoot for sponsoring the live podcasting happening here at the Podcast Movement 2018 in Philadelphia. TalkShoot is a community building podcast platform that offers storage streaming, global calling capabilities, and every state-of-the-art tool you need to get noticed online. Are you frustrated, podcasters, with limited storage? Well, TalkShoot provides unlimited cloud storage as well as the opportunity for YouTube live streaming. And if you want guests on your show, they will provide international connection options with global dial-in numbers. And a special thanks to High Sound for providing the microphones and headphones to record our podcast live here at the Podcast Movement 2018. I've got two lovely looking ladies sitting on either side of me. Lucky. It's always lucky me. Which one is Ellen?
I'm Ellen Zakos.
Ellen Zakos on my left and CL?
CL Fernari, that's correct.
On my right. Okay, let's do some sound check here. CL, why don't you start off? Tell me what you have for breakfast.
We are from Plant Rama, where the art, science, and dinner is all in your own backyard.
It's like eating from home.
That's right.
Exactly.
So this is different. This is similar to like, what is it, like the 100-mile?
Oh, the 100-mile diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
This is like the
not even close.
10-step diet.
Nope.
Well, this could be the 20-foot diet.
Just walk out your back door.
Just walk out your back door diet.
That's right.
That's well. Listen, thank you so much for joining me in the TalkShoe podcast booth here. Tell me about your podcast. What's the name and what are you guys talking about?
So basically, Plant Rama is for anyone who has ever grown, eaten, or wondered about a plant. If you have a question about a plant, we are there for you. We're there to talk about things you never even knew were connected to plants.
We talk about all aspects of plants. We always start out the podcast with what's for dinner.
Because everybody loves to eat.
Because
Yes.
that's right. And whether you are growing your own food and need to know a recipe about what you've grown or a tip about growing a particular plant, or whether you are foraging in the wild, that's what we start out with.
I am a forager.
Interesting.
So while we frequently disagree on the air, I have to admit.
Oh.
And because I'm always extolling the virtues of collecting wild edible plants, and CL would rather grow
Cultivate them. That's
Yeah.
right. I would rather grow
Okay.
them so that I know what I'm getting.
Well, which is true, which makes sense to me. But tell me about foraging. So, like, how do you know? You're an expert, so I'm assuming you know.
Yes,
So
I do.
I'm not an expert,
No.
so I don't touch anything. But
This
tell
is-
me, what can I touch?
Here's the number one principle.
Okay.
If you're not 100% sure of what it is,
Yeah.
don't put it in your mouth.
No.
And that's a good life lesson as well as a good foraging lesson. Okay, so you need to remember that.
Boys and girls,
Yes,
That's right.
just remember.
if you don't know what you're putting in your mouth, don't put it in.
Don't put it in
Don't
your
put it
mouth.
in your mouth.
But seriously, what you need to do is read everything you can, take classes about wild edible plants, buy my books, and go on plant walks. Find local people with all sorts of online resources. And if you listen to Plant Rama, there's always at least one segment that includes information on foraging. And then we'll go back and forth about why wild blueberries are better than cultivated blueberries. No, cultivated blueberries are better. So it's part of our lineup.
So Ellen, we're here in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Have you gone foraging yet here?
As a matter of fact, I have foraged in the Philadelphia area, although not on this visit.
Okay.
And actually, I wrote an article for used to be the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society magazine. I think they have a new name now
Okay.
about foraging in urban Philadelphia.
And what was it that you forage?
Well, my point is that there are a lot of urban weeds that grow in cities that are actually delicious wild edibles.
Okay.
So things like pokeweed and milkweed and things that you find growing in city parks, or what's the common name for portulaca? Purslane, things like that. Those are some of the things I
Purslane grows
recommend.
everywhere. Purslane grows in cracks of cement.
Yeah.
So you can probably walk within 3 blocks of this hotel and find purslane.
Crab apples, sumac berries. These are all things that you find in
Can
urban
you eat
environments.
crab apples? I got a crab apple tree in my backyard.
Of course you can. You can
What do I
eat
do
them.
with it?
You can make
Eat
a
them like
great.
right raw? I can eat them raw?
You can make a great cocktail with crab apple.
Oh yes, cocktail, bourbon and crab apples, dude. You can thank me later, or you can thank me now, but you will thank me.
I am thanking you now.
Yeah,
When
crab
I get
apples.
home.
Out of hand, they're very, very tart.
Yes.
And the smaller ones don't have a great texture to them. But the flavor, we did a cocktail event for Plant Rama on Cape Cod in CL's garden, which is a beautiful place. And we lured our audience in with wild crafted cocktails that included crab apples from her garden that people plant as ornamentals, but we know that you can also eat them.
I'm going to start.
You know, we have a great episode about crab apples.
You do?
Yes.
I'll go check it out.
You should check that one out,
All right.
and then that'll get you started.
One of our more popular episodes.
Yes, it is.
I'm writing it down.
Excellent.
Crab apples. Awesome.
Excellent.
So CL.
Yes.
You're not going to go downtown Philadelphia to look for lunch.
No,
You'd rather grow the stuff in your garden. You want to know what you're
I
eating.
would rather go outside and pick an eggplant. And let me tell you,
Yeah.
a fresh picked eggplant,
Yes.
not only are there no of these bitter juices that you read about in recipes, but they actually have flavor. I'm talking delicious flavor. And that's the reason to grow your own food. It is the most flavorful food on earth.
Okay, the eggplant.
Eggplant,
Or really anything
zucchini,
that-
tomatoes,
I
basil.
remember the first time we grew lettuce, and my husband was eating a salad, and he said, "This was alive a half hour ago."
That's right.
And I thought, well, it's actually maybe still alive. I don't know, but it's better than anything you could buy in the store. It just is not the same animal or vegetable.
And our listeners want organic food. They want flavorful food, right?
Yes.
And a lot of them want food that, they can decide 5 minutes before they have dinner what they're going to eat. And that's what you have when you have vegetables in your own backyard. You have dinner at 5 minutes notice.
That is really, really cool. So tell me, how did the two of you meet, and how did this podcast come about?
Well, CL and I have known each other professionally for many years. We're both members of the Garden Writers Association.
Okay.
And we've written a lot of books about plants, and we got together about 2 years ago and at the garden center where CL works, and we did an event called Houseplant Rescue, and we videotaped it.
And it's now up on YouTube.
It's hugely popular.
And some people love the
Houseplant
fact that we were willing to say you can just throw this plant away.
Don't even
And
try to save it.
that's right. And other
Okay.
people called us a plant kill shelter.
But basically, the dynamic was good. The energy was good. We argued a lot. We agreed sometimes. And it was something that made us think we should do more of this. And podcasting seemed to be the natural outgrowth of that.
That's right, because we both speak about plants and gardens and foraging or whatever professionally. We both write books about those subjects.
Okay.
So podcasting was the next
Like a
step.
natural extension.
Exactly.
That's right. It was a natural extension of what we're already doing.
And how long have you guys been doing this?
About a year and a half.
Okay.
That's right. So, and we're having fun with it. Our audiences are engaged, and we have a lot of plant noobs and black bums who listen to us
Uh-huh.
because that's where we're pointing that podcast. We're not talking to other horticulturalists.
Sure.
We're talking to average people
Yeah.
who are interested in the plants in their backyard, or interested if they go out biking or hiking, they want to know what they're seeing. That's what we're talking about.
People send us photos, they send us questions about their own gardens, and we're really focusing on helping people who are interested in plants but don't necessarily consider themselves to be gardeners already.
That is awesome. Ladies, it was lovely to meet the both of
Thank
you.
you for having us.
Thank you for the tips on the crab apples. We're not going to throw it out in the green bin.
Don't
Nope, don't do that.
take them and infuse them in bourbon. And if you email me, I will send you the recipe.
Awesome. I've got your email.
Yes.
right here. And the show is called Plantrama.
That's right. And we always close by saying,
Always remember to
protect wild places
grow great things.
and play in the dirt.
Awesome. That was Ellen and CL from the Plantrama podcast. Go check them out everywhere that podcasts can be found. And if you are wondering what to do with those crab apples, they have the recipe. Go check them out. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
For
Thank
joining
you.
me.
Pretty
Enjoy
great
your
speech.
time in Philadelphia.
We will.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very
Fun.
much. Thank you. Again, this is Karim Kanji, host of the Welcome Podcast, part of the Girth Radio Network. I'm popping my piece here. I would like to once again thank TalkShoe for sponsoring the live podcasting that's happening here at the Podcast Movement 2018 here in beautiful Philadelphia. We have another guest coming up, but just to tell you a little bit more about TalkShoe auto transcripts. How awesome would it be to have, anywhere you want to sit, Alex? Yeah. How awesome would it be to have your podcast transcribed automatically by these robots that are in our employment? So TalkShoe will automatically transcribe your podcast, and you can click on, once it's transcribed, you can actually click on the line, and it'll actually go straight to that area in your podcast. You can also listen to it. So if the machine picked up a word that's incorrect, you can check it out right there. Another great thing about it is joint moderating and co-hosting options. So if you got a co-host that might be on the other side of the planet or the other side of town, and you can't be at the same place at the same time, you can both co-host. So check them out, TalkShoe.com. Sitting down with me, we have Alex.
That is right.
Welcome, Alex. Alex,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Can you pronounce your last name for me?
Yes, I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
Yantafe.
Yantate?
Yeah, that's right.
Where's that name from? That's very
Well,
interesting.
I'm from Italy originally, but that's a pretty
Ah.
unusual surname, even for
Even
Italy.
for Italy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you're still in Italy? You came all the way
No,
to Philly?
No, that would have been a long way to come. I'm
Yeah.
just in Minnesota now.
Okay, so you're close.
You know, just a hop and a skip away.
Yeah, you're up. I tell people I'm from up north Toronto.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota's even further north than Toronto. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I think Toronto is farther north.
Toronto.
We both get a lot of snow. In the
We
winter,
get a lot
right?
of snow. Yes, we do. Alex, thank you so much for stopping by the TalkShoe studio. Tell me a little bit about your podcast.
Absolutely, I love to. It's a baby podcast, I call it, because it's only been out 6 months. And I
Okay, so you're not talking about babies.
No, we're not
Okay.
talking about it. I mean, sometimes we might be. So the name of my podcast is Gender Stories.
Okay.
And the idea is that everybody has a relationship with gender. And so I'm really interested in people's relationship with gender, no matter what their identity or gender expression might be. And babies are relevant because we really start gendering people before birth. And we all have
Yeah.
this idea of what gender is or is not.
Hmm.
And so that's pretty much the premise of my podcast.
That's really interesting. I've got a 9-year-old. I've got cousins that are starting to have babies. My brother and sister both have kids, and that's one of the things that in our language.
Mhm.
He said, she said. What are you going to get him? What are you going to get her? What is her favorite color?
Absolutely. And one of the first questions that people are asked when they're pregnant, I'm a parent as well. And when I was pregnant, people would ask like, "Oh, is it a boy or a girl?" And I used to say like, "I hope it's a baby hippo, but I'm pretty sure it's a human," which really threw people. My child knows that half the story. So we have some expectations. I think when we bring little beings in the world, and I think that sometimes those expectations fit, and sometimes they don't fit. I'm not just talking about trans or non-binary people. I'm talking about everybody. Like if you are assigned male at birth and you're not into football, maybe you're into ballet, regardless of your gender identity, you might have some pain in terms of what the world expects you to do and how you want to do, right? And that's what I came across as I was talking more and more to people about gender, both in my clinical practice as a therapist, but also as an educator. And I also write about the topics. So a lot of people talk to me about how gender has brought them both pain and joy in lots of different ways. And that's what I'm interested in my podcast.
Interesting. Is it a language thing? I'll give you an example. I introduced my two previous guests.
Yes.
I said, sitting down with me are two lovely ladies,
Yes.
right? And so I was, so that's a gender thing.
Yes, you made some assumptions, unless they told you that they were lovely ladies, in which case it was very consensual. I think that's one thing that happens in language is that we are so used to thinking that this is how gender works that we're doing it all the time to people. Right? People get confused. Sometimes I get stirred, sometimes I get ma'amed. And I don't identify fully with either, right? I use they pronouns or I use he pronouns. And I think we have certain markers that we're looking for. And I think those are linked to kind of culture and social norms as well. So I'm from Italy originally.
Yeah.
And when I go to Italy, my gender is read differently than when I'm in the UK or when I'm in Minnesota or here in Philadelphia or if I visit Texas, right? It's so context dependent because of history, culture, and social norms.
Yeah. And so how do we, so now you're in North America.
I am.
How does someone like myself,
Yes.
who is ignorant but open to learning, how do I navigate this? How do I choose my words correctly? How do I, if I say lovely ladies, not mean it in a condescending way?
Yeah.
How does one navigate this?
That's a great question. I love that question. I think there are lots of different ways. I'm very much not a believer in this is the right way, this is the wrong way.
Yeah.
I would say it's good to approach things with curiosity. So, if I'm using things like lovely people, or I use they pronoun, if I don't know somebody's pronouns, right? I mean, if it was good enough for Charles Dickens, in the 1800s, UK, it's probably good for us now. So if I use they pronouns or say lovely people, hey friend, how are you doing? And the more neutral language, I think it opens up possibility then for people to tell me who they are rather than me deciding who they are, right?
Sure.
And I think that's what I found, that as we talk about this topic, people feel more permission to tell more stories that maybe they didn't feel that permission to tell about themselves. I've had a lot of people look very normative, tell me actually this is how I feel inside, or I'm really uncomfortable when people use this term or this other term for me, even though they're not at all transgender, for example. It's just how they feel inside about themselves as a person.
Very interesting. So tell me about your podcast. When did you start it? Why did you start it?
Yeah. I started it in February this year. I took the podcast challenge and I launched the podcast in a month, which is just insanity.
Okay.
Do this at home. If you want to launch a podcast, actually the podcast movement challenge is amazing. And the reason why I started it was because First, I have so many amazing friends who are doing amazing things and I wanted to interview them. So the first 6 episodes, 5 of them are interviews with people who are food authors or business owners, a broad range of people of all genders. And I was really interested in finding points of connection around this topic of gender across identity and experiences. I think we bucket ourselves these are women experiences, these are men experiences, these are transgender folks' experiences. But we all have a relationship with gender. So where are the points of contact? Where are the points where we can empathize with one another and learn from one another and expand our world?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And how is it getting guests, or is it just yourself?
At the moment, I'm getting guests. The first episode is me rambling on in a very awkward manner about what the podcast is.
It's your first one.
Right? It was the first one. It was terrible. I was going down with a cold. But then it's all guests from then on. But actually, from the fall, I'm thinking of switching to 2 episodes a month because I've had really good response.
Amazing.
And to do 1 episode where it's a guest and 1 episode where I actually dive deep into the topic a little bit more by myself because people are really loving some of the topics. For example, one of the upcoming episodes in August is with Dave Pickering, who's based in the UK and does a lot of work on masculinity. So he's got a book that's coming out called Mansplaining Masculinity, and we just talked about toxic masculinity, which was amazing. We had such a great interview. And so then the follow-up episode would be just me kind of diving a little bit deeper into the topic, giving some resources and kind of just doing a little bit of an analysis of some of the topics and just rambling on, which I love to do.
I think that's the one thing podcasters have in common, especially when they start, I want to talk.
Yes. I feel so awkward if I'm doing small talk, but get me talking about something I'm passionate about, and I can talk for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, you're a new podcaster.
Yes.
And we're here at the Talk Shoe podcast booth.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard of Talk Shoe. before, but it might be a great tool for you to utilize.
Absolutely.
You know, if you've got, for example, you've got this guest in the UK, if you've got guests from out of town, TalkShoe will provide you with a free toll-free number for them to call in, or they can be online at the same time. The ability for your show to not just be audio recorded, but video recorded on YouTube automatically as well. And if you're like me, never thought about writing a book about some of the podcast stuff, they'll also transcribe.
Well, funnily
Your
enough,
episode.
actually, I have a book out. It's called How to Understand Your Gender, a practical guide for exploring who you are. It's
There you
published by
go.
Jessica Kingsley, and I'll just slip it in there.
Yeah.
Seamless promotion, right? That's
No,
what we do.
that is awesome. And how long has this book been out for?
The book has been out since September 2017, so
Okay.
it's pretty new. It's
That's
very
amazing.
up to date, and it's for people of all genders. So I hope you enjoy it. It's very accessible.
Tell me the name of this book again.
How to Understand Your Gender, a practical guide for exploring who you are, by Alex Santati and Mac John Barker, published by Jessica Kingsley. You can find it on Amazon, or even better, at your independent local bookstore.
You're also the host of Gender Stories, found everywhere podcasts.
Everywhere, even
Can
on
be found.
Spotify now.
Even look at you. You just started your spot.
Just rocking this thing.
Alex, lovely to meet you. All the best with your podcast. And I hope you get a lot out of the conference.
Thank you so much for having me on TalkShoe. It was a pleasure to meet you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, thank you to TalkShoe for sponsoring this live podcasting session here at the Podcast Movement 2018 in beautiful Philadelphia, USA. And special thanks to our friends at High Sound for providing the microphones and headphones to record our podcast live here at the Podcast Movement 2018. My name is Karim Kanji. I am your host, also the host of Welcome with Karim Kanji, part of the Earth Radio Network. Those are my guests for today's first session. I'll be back later this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. Do we have, is she another guest or she's going to do her own recording?
She's next.
Okay, what's her name? She's next for me?
No.
She's next to do this. All right, let me turn this on.
You're coming back at 3?
I'm coming back at 3.
Yeah, so you do the whole thing for an hour.
Yeah, I'm going on for an hour next time. Okay, so let me
Right.
just,
Who wants to hold the SD card? Well, I'd say me. But
Anton,
track of that? Yeah, I could.
stop
'Cause I
recording.
mix it with